Mabel, seriously, how is it already October? Like, this year is going so fast. I cannot believe it's already autumn, but there's a chill in the air. Everyone's drinking pumpkin spice lattes. But of course, we can't enjoy any of that because we have too much political stuff to break down today.
Yes, everyone, put on your comfy sweaters and strap in because it is time for another edition of Trumpdates.
I guess we should start with the fact that the government has been shut down for over 24 hours at this point. Both sides are classically blaming each other for it being shut down. Democrats are holding out to try to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, which expire at the end of the year. Because if they're not renewed, millions of people's healthcare would jump up in cost. They also want to reverse the Medicaid cuts that Republicans passed, and we remember the big beautiful bill. And because the government's now shut down, millions of federal employees and even soldiers are going without pay, and this also means most national parks are closed. And Trump is making the situation worse by using this as an opportunity to actually lay people off. Like, usually government employees are just furloughed during this time, but he wants to actually use it to just do massive layoffs of thousands of employees that work in departments that he says don't align with his mission.
No, I saw that. I think that's why this shutdown is so different. To just give everyone kind of some context of what actually causes a government shutdown. So basically, the federal government can only spend money that's been appropriated by Congress, and that money runs out at the end of the fiscal year, which is September 30th, so just a couple days ago. And no one knows how long this will last. Like, the shortest government shutdown was like a couple hours, and the longest one was actually 34 days during Trump's first term. But experts are saying that this one will probably last a while because Democrats don't want to bend because they've been getting so much criticism from the last spending deal that they cut with Trump in March. And Republicans are basically saying, we control the House, we control the Senate. Democrats don't have any leverage. So it doesn't seem like anyone is really going to bend anytime soon. So the next time you need something from a vending machine, you might be using a Charlie Kirk coin.
It's so crazy.
Because apparently a pair of Republicans introduced a bill this week directing the U.S. Treasury to mint 400,000 silver dollar coins with Charlie Kirk's face on it. So on one side of the coin would be his face, and then on the other side would say the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant."
I didn't know you can just add anyone to a coin. Just for fun, even for a limited release thing.
Yeah. So apparently in like the 1890s, Congress authorized commemorative coins to kind of like celebrate American patriots. He would be like the youngest person to be on a coin. And we've obviously seen the Trump administration go like above and beyond to honor him. Like, obviously after he was assassinated, he was flown on Air Force Two with Vice President Vance. There might be like a Charlie Kirk Day, like Remembrance Day on October 14th.
Oklahoma has proposed a bill that all public colleges must have a statue of Charlie Kirk sitting at a table with an empty seat across from him. They have to put that up if this bill passes, every single college in Oklahoma.
Oh my God, to like show like him debating someone or something?
Yeah, like to show like it, like the idea that he's open to debating anybody.
Several House Republicans also wrote to Speaker Johnson to ask for a statue of him at the U.S. Capitol. So we'll just see if these things pass.
He wasn't an elected official.
No, it seems like the Trump administration is using his death as a way to kind of celebrate like Republican like rhetoric or something. Like at his memorial, everyone really talked about how this was a revival. That's what everyone was saying. So I guess putting him on a coin is like the most tangible way to kind of cement him in American history.
Mabel, have you been following like James Comey's indictment?
No, there's been so much going on, but I need you to break it down for me.
Okay, so I have to start with Trump's Truth Social that announced that he was indicted. So he posted, "Justice in America, one of the worst human beings this country has ever been exposed to, James Comey, the former corrupt head of the FBI. Today, he was indicted by a grand jury on 2 felony counts for various illegal and unlawful acts."
But like what? So this happened, it seems like out of nowhere. Like why is he attacking him right now?
So he's been trying to get one of the U.S. attorneys based in Virginia to bring charges against his political opponents for a while, including James Comey. But that attorney actually was forced out because he didn't feel like he had reservations about bringing them. So then he hired his former personal attorney and appointed her as U.S. attorney. And now she's like, yeah, I'll bring this case, even though legal experts are saying it's extremely weak. There's barely any grounds. They're even saying it's going to be an embarrassment for the Department of Justice because of how absurd these charges are. So he's charged with 2 counts, 1 count of making false statements under oath and 2 of obstructing justice.
So what are these counts referring to? Like when would he have done that?
So it goes back to a Senate hearing in 2020 when Comey was being questioned about two FBI investigations, one about Russian interference in the 2016 election and one about Hillary Clinton's emails. And Senator Ted Cruz asked Comey if he had approved an FBI leak about those investigations years prior. And he said no, he had no knowledge that this FBI leak was being made. But Andrew McCabe, who had been the guy who leaked the FBI information, had said that he had done it with Comey's knowledge. But McCabe also kind of has a track record for making misleading statements. Not like he's like the most reliable witness to this. So now Trump is like coming at Comey saying, no, he was aware of this and he blatantly lied and obstructed justice when he said he didn't know about this leak.
So what's going to happen now? Like, how long is this expected to drag out? Like, what are the next steps?
Well, Comey immediately posted a video being like, bring it on, let's go to trial. Like, he's like really baiting them. A lot of legal experts say it's not even going to get to a trial because it's so flimsy. And one argument that Comey could try to use to get this dismissed is saying that this is clearly a product of vindictive prosecution. And historically, that's a really tough like rebuttal to prove in this case because it's so clear, like the paper trail of Trump hating Comey. He actually might have a good basis to make that argument. So he will appear before a judge next week. So we'll see what happens then.
So 1,200 people are missing from Alligator Alcatraz, which we all remember is that Florida detention center that the state spent $200 million basically creating in 8 days. And so as of July, there were 1,800 detainees in this detention center. And as of late August, 2/3 of the 1,800 people are missing from ICE's online database, and their family literally can't locate them.
I mean, that's horrific. Like, where could they even be?
When you look them up on like the ICE online database, 800 of them were literally missing and had no records. And 450 of them had a result that says call ICE for details. And so reporters like asked attorneys, what does this notation mean? And they said it could mean a number of things, like these detainees are being moved from one facility to another, or that they were being secretly deported. And so there's this example of this Cuban national who was basically held in Alligator Alcatraz for like a couple months. And then he was moved to a San Diego facility and his family was like notified that he was moved. And then one day they didn't hear from him anymore. Like they couldn't find him, they couldn't locate him. And they went to the facility and they were like, he's not coming up when we search him, go to ICE. So they went to ICE, that referred them back to the facility. So there was just this ongoing thing of not knowing where he was. And then weeks later, they found out he was like secretly sent to Mexico, even though he's from Cuba. And he basically came all the way from Alligator Alcatraz, which we know again is this state-run detention facility. So it was shut down because there were all these like claims of abuse. Now a federal appeals court actually said that it can run. We don't know what's happening there, but we do know that all of these people are missing.
So Trump is preparing to bail out Argentina's government by giving them $20 billion to try to save their current libertarian president, Milei, who I guess they're like allies, because Trump thinks will help with his re-election campaign if he is campaigning with not being in like economic chaos in his country. But I guess Argentina has such a terrible track record of defaulting on their debt that even Republicans are like, this is such a poor use of taxpayer money. Yeah. And also, what happened to America first? Why are we solving Argentina's problems?
And it's just funny because what happened to like USAID cuts? He's cutting all of this like help for people around the world, but he's spending all of this money to help out his friends. As if there isn't enough going on, have you heard that Trump is causing drama with the Taliban?
I mean, I saw his Truth Social post, but I don't know more than that.
So ever since the U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan in 2021, Trump has said that it was a mistake because the U.S. should keep control of this airbase there. It's this like really big, long airbase called Bagram Air Base. And so he was Truth Socialing last week saying, we want this airbase back because China is making nuclear weapons really close to the area. And it's important to note that no one has yet been able to verify that China is actually making nuclear weapons there. But the problem is that it would require a negotiated deal with the Taliban, who of course don't want American presence there. They've finally got rid of the US presence after 20 years. So the leader of the Taliban like tweeted on X being like, there's no way that we're giving you this. Remember the deal that we made? Even taking this airbase would require thousands of US troops or more. And now Trump is like escalating things by threatening the Taliban, saying bad things are going to happen if Afghanistan does not give the base back to the US.
I just finished Kamala Harris's new memoir, 107 Days, and I have so many thoughts. So she said that Pete Buttigieg was actually her first choice for VP, but didn't think America was ready for like a woman of color and a gay man. And it only would have worked if she was a white man. And then she said Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro was so confident that he was going to be chosen that he was asking her staff how he could lease out art for the vice president's residence.
So embarrassing.
And then he also said in the interview process that as VP, he'd like to be, quote, in the room for all the major decisions.
Didn't even pick you yet.
Yeah. And so she thought that he would never be okay being number 2 and that he would want to be like co-president. And then she went through how all of like the notable Democrats responded to her candidacy. It was obviously such a shock to everyone. So she said Bill and Hillary were immediately supportive and immediately wanted to like put out a statement like endorsing her. And then she said Barack and Michelle were also super excited, but thought that they should wait a bit. Pelosi, though, as we knew, really pushed for a primary like vote at the DNC convention. And then the funniest one was she called Gavin Newsom and he didn't respond. So he texted her, "I'm hiking, call you later," and he never called back. They never like spoke again. She says it was pretty reckless of her, that was her word, to not try to dissuade Joe from running again, but she was worried about bringing up any concerns of him running again because it could just seem self-serving. She reveals a lot about her relationship with Joe Biden. Clearly have a lot of like respect and love for each other, but then it gets like muddy sometimes. Like she clearly has resentment against him for his gaffes during the campaign that then she had to clean up. Joe Biden can be like very full of himself. And 1 hour before Kamala's debate with Trump, Joe Biden called under the guise of like, "Hey kid, like wishing you well, like you're gonna crush it." And then immediately segued into, "I hear like my aides are telling me you're talking shit about me." Like an hour before the debate. Oh. And she was like, I was just so shocked that he called to say this. She said it wasn't even true. But in general, I thought the book was really interesting just to see behind the curtain. And like she went into it truly not even questioning, like knowing they were going to win. And then when she realized it didn't, and like she gets like, she writes emotionally.
Does she give any indication throughout the book about like whether she's going to run again?
She's not sure if the system can be fixed from within. And like you might have to be like apart from the system to fix it, but that now she really wants to focus on having conversations with people, like figuring out other ways I think she can help. But I still wouldn't be surprised if like she does go back to realizing that being president would be a pretty big way you could fix the system.